Okay, class, I'm back again, class 8, with your Radiant Reader. This is your Radiant Reader, and I'm going to take chapter 8, which is all about the Taj Mahal. Now, you know, the Taj Mahal happens to be one of the wonders of the world. It's declared as one of the wonders of the world. So we should be proud Indians to be holding one of the wonders of the world in our country. It is a beautiful pen. There is a beautiful pen picture on your right hand side. It's of the Taj Mahal, which is the most famous mausoleum. Now, what is a mausoleum? A mausoleum is a place. It is like a beautiful place which is built in memory of someone. And a mausoleum basically is a majestic building which has the tomb of any renowned person. It holds the tombs. So that is called a mausoleum. But it is made in a majestic way. So basically a mausoleum is a majestic building which holds tombs. It is built by Emperor Shah Jahan to keep alive forever the memory of his beloved queen Mumtaz Mahal. Now we start the lesson. So this is your Taj Mahal on your right, and you can see the 4 pillars. On top of the 4 pillars, those are called the minarets. What are they called? The minarets, and those are the domes. The round on top which forms the roof is called the dome. So here is a beautiful picture for you to look at. This is a picture of the Taj Mahal. So let's start, children. For 5 and 25 years of my life, 5 and 25 years of my life is a quarter century. 5 and 25, that means 25 years old. So for 5 and 25 years of his life, he had been looking forward to the sight of now before me. He was looking forward to the sight that was standing right there before him. Of no building on earth had I heard so much as of this. So here he says he's never heard of any building on earth. He's never heard people talk so much about this building that is standing right in front of his sight. And this is the one that he's heard the most. People talk about it the most. This contains the remains of Emperor Shah Jahan and his wife. We had ordered our tents to be pitched in the gardens of the splendid mausoleum, that we might have our fill of the enjoyment which everybody seemed to derive from it. So they wanted to take in the beauty of the Taj Mahal. Now the beauty of the Taj Mahal, it seems it's more beautiful and more romantic on a full moon night when the moon shines on the Taj Mahal. It has a beauty of its own and it's undescribable. So people, you know, literally when it's a full moon night, they camp. Of course, you have to pay the money and they put up a tent for you and you can sit in the gardens in front of the Taj Mahal and you can take in the beauty all night of the Taj Mahal. So they had pitched tents on the garden and just to enjoy the beauty. And everybody seemed to derive from it. Whatever beauty, everybody seemed to derive a lot of beauty from it. As we reached there at about 8 o'clock, I went over the whole building before I entered my tent. And I can truly say that everything surpassed my expectation. So then he says that before he went back to his tent, he took a round of the building. He went around seeing the Taj Mahal, and this is what he saw. After my quarter of a century of anticipated pleasure, I went on from part to part in the expectation that I must by and by come to something that would disappoint me. So he says, after my 25 years of living, he said, I anticipated the pleasure. I was just wondering what kind of pleasure was there this beautiful building held for me. He went from part to part of the building in the expectation that he might come across something that would disappoint him. But no, there was nothing. The emotion which one feels at the first is never imparted. So the emotion you feel when you see it for the first time, that emotion is never imparted. It always is there and it stays as you perceive it for the first time. On the contrary, it goes on improving. It's just that it goes on improving. And from the first sight of the dome in the distance to the minute inspection of the last flower upon the screen around the tomb. So it's all right from the topmost part of the dome to the minute flowers that were there. They were all carved on the screen of the tomb, around the screen that was around the tomb. It had minute filigree work of carved into flowers in various shapes. One continues to return to it with undiminished pleasure. So every time you look at it, you still return to it in awe. You still return to it in awe, and that pleasure keeps on continuing. There's nothing disappointing. Every time you look at it in a different way, and the beauty enhances you. So this is what he says. One continues to look at it with undiminished pleasure. So the pleasure doesn't end. It goes on and on. And though at every turn, the visitor's attention to the smaller parts become less and less. So he says many a times, he says, visitors who come there, their attention to the smaller, finer parts of the tomb become less and less, he says. But it's the finer parts that are really what one should see. That is the art and the architecture and the way the floral patterns that adorn the walls and the carvings that are done in the stones all along the Taj Mahal. So here he says, the pleasure which he derives from the contemplation of the greater and the whole collectively seems to increase, and he leaves with a feeling of regret that he could not have it within his reach or his life. So if you go on looking at it and admiring it and you take in the beauty, he says, then at one point you feel sad. You feel sad that you cannot have this particular thing within your reach, where you can see this all throughout your life. So what he's trying to say is that people who live there are very lucky to see such magnificent beauty. The emperor and his queen lie buried side by side in a vault beneath the building to which we descend by a flight of steps. So he's giving you a description of what lies below the Taj Mahal. So below the Taj Mahal there is a vault. A vault is a place which is underground and it is closed, but here it is open. And there is a staircase that leads down to the vault. And there is the tomb of the king and his wife. The remains are covered by two marble slabs. The remains of both the king and the queen are covered by two marble slabs. And directly over those slabs, upon the floor above, is the greater center room under the dome. And there, that is the center room. So the two tombs are lying there, and then above it there is another greater slab which is the center dome on top, which has the center dome on top, and this room is the center room. Under the dome there stands two marbles, two other slabs of the same marble. There is two other slabs of the same marble that tells you that here is the body of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. So you cannot see the actual tomb underneath. Now I think they have closed the entrance to that tomb underneath. But come to the center of the Taj Mahal where there is the slab which tells you that below this lies the tombs of both the king and the queen. Now this slab has exquisitely worked in mosaic. So the slabs are exquisitely worked in mosaic. Mosaic is like pieces of tiles. They are taken and they are fixed and they are drawn into a pattern. It's great work. Now in Morocco, in Turkey, they have mosaic. They do a lot of mosaic. Their trays, their plates, their cups, their boxes, all have got this mosaic work. They are pieces of mosaic pieces, tile pieces, which are fixed and into to form a pattern. So this is what it is, exquisitely worked in mosaic. Upon that of the queen, there are amid wreaths of flowers and passages from the Quran are worked in black letter. So where the queen's tomb is, there are wreaths of flowers that are made in with mosaic. There are wreaths of flowers that are made in mosaic, and they've used mosaic to write passages from the Quran in black letters on the slab over her husband. On the slab over her husband's tomb, there are no passages from the Quran, merely mosaic work of flowers. So there is no passages from the Quran, there are only mosaic works of flowers on Shah Jahan's tomb, with his name and the date of his death. The slab over the queen's occupies the center of the apartments above, and in the vault below, and that over her husband lies on the left as we enter. So the main tomb, that is of the queen, it lies right in the center. So the whole center of the Taj revolves around the tomb of the queens, while the king's tomb lies the left of the Taj Mahal, where we enter in from. The left of the Taj Mahal, where we enter in from, that lies over Shah Jahan's tomb. At one end of the slab in the vault, her name is written Mumtaz-e-Mahal Banu Begum. The ornament of the palace, Banu Begum. So the ornament of the palace, she was the main ornament that adorned the palace during Shah Jahan's time. And she was called Banu Begum. And the date of her death, it was 1631. The building stands upon the north side of a large quadrangle. So it's like in a quadrangle, and on the north side of the quadrangle, looking down into the clear blue streams of the river Jamuna, while the other three sides are enclosed with a high wall of red stone. So one side of the river, the wall is low and you can look directly down into the river Jamuna, while the other three sides has got a high wall which is made out of red sandstone. The entrance of the quadrangle is through a magnificent gateway in the south side opposite the tomb, and on the other two sides are very beautiful mosques facing inwards and corresponding exactly with each other in size, design and execution. So on the other two sides there are two beautiful mosques which are facing directly each other, and they are also very beautiful mosques and they correspond exactly with each other in size, design and execution. So both the mosques, they look the same in the size, the design and in the way it is executed. The mausoleum itself, the terrace upon which it stands, and the minarets are all formed of the finest white marble. So the mausoleum and the minarets, they all that stand, they all are made out of white fine marble, and they are inlaid with precious stones. They are made of white fine marble and they are inlaid with precious stones. The wall around the quadrangle, including the river face of the terrace, is made out of red sandstone. So the walls around the Taj Mahal are made out of red sandstone. And these walls, they have cupolas. They are made of red sandstone with cupolas and pillars of the same white marble. So the walls are made of red sandstone and they have pillars. These pillars are made out of white marble, and over the pillars are cupolas. Cupolas are round domes. Cupolas are nothing but they are called round domes. So they have small pillars with round domes all along the walls of the Taj Mahal. The walls that surround the Taj Mahal. The marble was all bought from the Jaipur territories upon wheeled carriages, a distance I believe of 200 or 300 miles. So the marble was all got from the quarries in Jaipur at that time, which was around 200 or 300 miles in distance. And the sandstone was bought from the neighborhood of Dholpur and Fatehpur Sikri. So Dholpura is very famous for the red sandstone. So the sandstone was got from Dholpura and from Fatehpur Sikri. Shah Jahan is said to have inherited his partiality for this color from his grandfather. So Shah Jahan, it was said that he was partial to this color, the red sandstone and the white marble. He liked these two colors. That was because of they say that he got this kind of feeling of likeness to the red sandstone and the white marble through his grandfather Akbar, who had constructed almost all his buildings of the same stone. Akbar mostly had used the same stone to construct all his buildings. The Red Fort is made out of red Dholpur sandstone. You have in Agra, you have the Qutub Minar. All these are all made out of sandstone. And Akbar used it a lot in his buildings. All the buildings that he has built, Akbar used red sandstone and marble. We visited the Moti Masjid or the Pearl Mosque. The Moti Masjid or the Pearl Mosque was also built by Shah Jahan and entirely made out of white marble. There is no mosaic upon any of the pillars or panels of this mosque. This mosque has no mosaic or any kind of mosaic work done on the panels or on the pillars of the mosque. But the design and the execution of the flowers is bas relief are exceedingly beautiful. So the flowers are engraved, they are cut into the marble, and that is called bas relief. That is kind of art that is done, and it is exceedingly beautiful. It is a chaste, simple and majestic building. So there is nothing about it. It's a pure, simple, majestic building. So that is the meaning of chaste, means pure, purity. The building has complete purity in it when you look at it and when you visit it. Simple and majestic, and is admired even more than the Taj Mahal by some people. Some people say that the Moti Mahal is much more beautiful compared to the Taj Mahal. Few, however, go to see the Mosque of the Pearls. More than one stay as long as they will at Agra, and when they go, the building appears less and less to deserve their admiration, while they go to the Taj as often as they can and find new beauties in it or new findings of pleasure from it every time. So when Moti Masjid is considered, few people go there. They rarely revisit it every time. But the Taj is such an epic monument that it's an epic monument that people go on revisiting it, and every time they revisit, they find some other beauty in it which they had not noticed on the last time they go. So every time one visits, they tend to find more and more pleasure in seeing the Taj Mahal. So you find new beauties in it or new findings of pleasure from it every time you visit it. Now this is adapted from Lieutenant Colonel Suleiman's book. It is written by a Lieutenant Colonel who was in the army and who had traveled, and this is a story written in his book, and the title of the book is Rambles and Recollections of an Indian Official. So that's what he's penned his book as, Rambles and Recollections of an Indian Official. So children, this is your lesson. It's very simple. It's just how this 25-year-old boy who's gone to the Taj Mahal for the very first time, what he sees and what pleasure he gets on seeing the Taj Mahal, and how he says that people go just to look at it, but there are many finer points in the Taj Mahal that people tend to overlook. The structure, the way the tomb has been put in the basement of the Taj Mahal, and how the upper half that is covering the tomb below, how it depicts and tells you the exact center of the Taj Mahal. So it is there that the center dome of the Taj Mahal, it directly falls upon Shahjahan, on Mumtaz Mahal's tomb. So that is what it is. So they say that a drop of water comes down and it drops right in the center of the tomb. So this is the story of your Taj Mahal. You have your questions. There are 3 questions. Please see that you answer them. Read your lesson and answer the questions. You can use the following phrases in your language study. You have the following phrases and sentences of your own. Looking forward to. So looking forward to is a phrase that is given here. So you can make a sentence of your own. I'll just make one as an example for you. I am looking forward to my class picnic. I am looking forward to my class picnic. Or you can say, I am looking forward to my friend's visit. So you can complete the rest of the phrases and make sentences of your own. Please children, don't make any sentence, try to make meaningful sentences. Your sentence has to have meaning and it has to have connection with the phrase that is given. The second one, this splendid mausoleum. There are 2 other adjectives used in the passage to describe the splendor of the building. Point them out. It is beauty. You have the beauty, which is you have beautiful, which is there where he has described the building as beautiful. There are many words that he has used, adjectives, exquisitely. So there are many words. You please go through the book and mark the words that describe the building. Express in another way. We might have our fill of the enjoyment. So you have to express it in another way. Okay? Your sentences, we might have our fill of the enjoyment. So we might have our fill of the enjoyment. Now this sentence is telling you that you might have complete enjoyment. So you can also, you have to change, you can express it in another way. Now the other way is that I had my fill of enjoyment when I saw the Taj Mahal. The emotion is never impar. One's emotion is never impar. Everything surpassed my expectations. There was nothing left to surpass my expectation. One returns and returns to it with undiminished pleasure. One often returns to it with undiminished pleasure. So this is how you can change the sentence. Make a list of all the words used in the passage for parts of the Taj Mahal building. So you can make it dome, tomb, turret. Then you have the other word which tells you the cupolas. Okay, then you have the tombstone. So there are many words that are used over here. So you can find these words and you can complete it. Write an interesting account of your visit to a place of historic importance. So children, I want you to write in not more than 80 words, 80 to 100 words. You write your experience when you went to a historical place. Please make sure that you write about the historical place. Describe the place. Don't write about what you did and what fun you had and what you ate and what you drank. That's not required. You've got to write of how you got there, what you saw, what is the importance, and when was it built, why was it built. you've got to write all that and write about the scenic view that you have and nothing more. Describe any work of art that you admire. So the next question is, you describe any work of art that you admire. So you can take any work of art and you describe it and describe your feelings as to why you admire it, what makes you admire this work of art. So this is your lesson for today. Thank you, children, and please see that you'll answer the questions and complete your exercise as per what is given at the rear of your lesson. The exercise that is at the rear of your lesson, please see that you finish the exercise and write down the question and answer. I will get back to you later with chapter 9, which is a chapter where there are incidences of accidents that take place. So I'll see you later. Thank you very much.